This episode is brought to you by Marvel Studios Echo. All episodes streaming January 9th, only on Hulu and Disney+. Rated TV MALV. Viewer discretion advised. Maya Lopez has betrayed her mentor, the notorious Kingpin. Now on the run, she returns to her hometown to prepare for the biggest fight of her life. Don't miss Marvel Studios' hardest-hitting series yet. An epic 5-episode event. Marvel Studios Echo. All episodes streaming January 9th, only on Hulu and Disney+.
Join me, 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty, on my podcast, My Life of Crime, as I take on true crime investigations like no other. This season, I'm looking into the labyrinth of crime and secrets within families. I'm cutting straight to the evidence and talking to the people directly involved, including investigators and the families of victims. Listen to My Life of Crime with Erin Moriarty wherever you get your podcasts.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Caroline, you should tell them about the newest thing that Bloody Happy Hour is doing.
A Patreon.
It's a Patreon. What is that?
That means you're basically like a VIP member, and there's 2 different levels that you can, subscribe to, and you get some perks. You maybe get like merch a little earlier. You get
exclusive merch.
You could get first dibs on signing up for a live show. You get episodes with no commercials.
You get our video because our video is no longer available on YouTube. It is only on Patreon. And the most important to me is you get videos of our live shows. So if you are far away and you couldn't make our last live show, it will be on the website. We're going to record this future live show. It's going to be on Patreon, but also bonus episodes each month. You guys tell us all the time you want more episodes. This is a way for you to get more episodes. So you're going to get our basic Tuesday, Thursdays that we always put out, right? But if you're on a Patreon, you're VIP, you're going to get more.
I can't wait to talk about in detail some more stories because I always have a lot of details I want to go to. I can law-splain. I might read a book.
They just unsubscribed. This is also going to be the exclusive place that Dirty Chat is going to go to. So if that is breaking some of your hearts, just go ahead and subscribe now. In order to hear the full content, it's going to be Patreon. Where do they go again?
Patreon.com/BloodyHappyHour.
Don't forget to
stay aware,
stay alive,
and always be DTF.
Hey y'all, I'm April.
And I'm Caroline.
And this
is your Bloody Happy Hour.
Caroline, are you ready for this?
This is your newest guilty pleasure.
It's the bloodiest part of your week.
Did we say something about it also being happy hour?
Show did.
Because we about to be sipping on some murder. Bloody Happy Hour.
Hey y'all, this is April.
And this is Caroline.
Thirsty Thursday, Bloody Happy Hour time.
How thirsty are you, April? I mean, I know you had a wild night like 2 nights ago, and since we're so old that
not thirsty
you can't
at
even
all.
we can't recover the same.
No.
There's no recovery.
2-day hangovers.
There's no
when you're in your
immediate
40s.
recovery.
When you're in your 40s, hangovers last 2 days, and I just went sober. This is now a sober podcast. Where's Pete?
Where's Pete when we need him?
Oh, Pete,
I think April needs to come on your show.
Yes, it's now time.
How about, so there's I've been working out at this place lately, and somebody asked me just the other day, well, why were you not here on whatever day? And it was Thursday. Why was I not here Thursday? I was like, well, I was recording my podcast. And they're like, oh, you have a podcast? I was like, oh, I'm so glad you asked.
Go ahead and subscribe. Give me
So
your
I
phone.
told them, I was like, it's a true crime podcast. And they were like, like 5 people. And they're like, what is it? What is it? We're looking it up. We're listening. I'm like in the mic. So if you're one of those new people who are listening, welcome.
Welcome.
So I was like, just beware. There could be some stuff that we talk about that, it could be disturbing.
And I always say, you know what? We're learning as we go.
Yeah.
So have some grace, especially if you listen to some of the other ones.
And
or,
sometimes if you're
any of the
listening to
ones
me,
now.
just put it on 1.5 speed because sometimes I tend to talk a little slow. But that's fine. I'm just processing the information. Or I could give you wrong info and talk real fast.
Hey, either
A little
or.
bit of both.
There's no telling how we do it.
No, there's no. So April's drinking water, and I'm having some. I got little Deep Eddies in there, because why not?
Oh, don't even.
Do you want some vodka?
No.
What do you want? Do you want a
Nothing.
martini?
Nothing.
Do you want?
I need some pure hydration.
Do you need some Ensure? Pedialyte.
Pure hydration.
Do you recognize this sound?
Yes. Amber Alert!
Now, you know how I recognize this sound? Because during the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, yes, we're bringing it back there. Yes, I will go back
been
there
a
for
while.
any second I can. I even rewatched some of them the other day because I just needed to get it in. So during the closing, Amber Heard's closing,
Okay.
her attorney is giving his argument and the sound goes off. And it's just, what are the odds and what are the chances of an Amber Alert going off during Amber Heard's closing? And the judge quietly said, because even if your phone's on silent, it
It'll
comes on
go.
your watch. It comes on your
Yeah.
phone. It's like, and it happens like, oh, you'll get it. Then 2 seconds later, this person, then this person. So it was like, oh, a bunch of people got it. They silenced it. And then about 30 seconds later, it did it again because then it hit other people's phones. And the judge just quietly was like, it appears there's an Amber Alert. But really what I think it was is they were having tornadoes in the area or bad weather. So I think it was a bad weather alert. But the first thing that came to my mind when I heard it was Amber Alert. Because I don't think your phone alerts like that for bad weather. That's just like on the rate, like
On the TV, maybe.
Yeah,
Like
like,
it'll come across the screen.
But this
National Weather Alert.
So
or
I'm
something.
going with that it was an Amber Alert.
It
That went
probably
off
was.
during Amber Heard's trial. So you may be wondering, why in the hell am I talking about Amber Alerts?
Could you be doing the story?
I might be doing the story of how the Amber Alert was created.
Let's do it.
Wow, look at that. So, okay, there's Adam Walsh, which you've looked into him a little bit before. And
Yes.
he's the one who John Walsh created, In Pursuit with John Walsh. And he went on to,
America's Most Wanted.
yes, because his son, Adam, was kidnapped or abducted. And I don't really know the whole story.
From Sears and
From
was
Sears.
later found decapitated. But I'm not going to tell you much more because
'Cause
it's going to
you're
be a
gonna
Patreon episode.
Oh,
soon.
yeah. So I think they came up with a code Adam, and this was a predecessor to the Amber Alert. I don't really know much about the code Adam. I just know all about the Amber Alert.
Okay.
So it was Saturday, January 13th in 1996.
Okay.
And it's so sad that 1996 is a long, long time ago because I'm pretty sure in 1996 I was 11.
I think I was a freshman in high
So
school.
I was actually old. You were a freshman? You're only 3 years old.
I graduated in 99.
Okay. Well, good thing I'm young. So this is in Arlington, Texas. So not only is we're about the same age as these people, or I was close to this. And then it's right down the road. So I guess we're back in Texas. Donna Woodson and her 2 kids. She has 9-year-old Amber and 5-year-old Ricky. And they were at the park and they were going to go to grandparents' house. And then Donna was barely, they were going to get in the car to go to grandparents' house. But the kids were like, oh, we actually want to ride our bikes for a little bit. And can we just go ride around the block? Whatever. And she's like, okay, but you just go around this block. Do not go any further. Do not go any further. It was around 3:10 p.m. And they're like, yeah, we know, Mom. It's fine. Well, pretty close to this one block was a Winn-Dixie. Winn-Dixie's
I
like a little
remember
grocery store.
Winn-Dixie.
But it was closed, so this is an abandoned parking lot. But there was like this ramp, and so the kids, like to go ride their bikes on the ramp.
Okay.
Like when I was little, there's trails near my house, so I would go with my friends and the neighborhood kids and go ride bikes on the trails, and
Yeah.
it was like
No big deal.
not an issue.
Yeah.
I didn't have
Same.
a phone. I didn't have to Snapchat it. I didn't have to post it on Instagram.
No.
I didn't have to tell anybody about it. I just did it and I had fun.
Uh-huh.
Kids need to get back to that.
Yeah.
But
Nope. TikTok.
it's not happening. So they're going and they're riding around this parking lot, the two kids. And the little brother, little Ricky, he is like, I think that we rode too far and I just kind of want to go back. I don't want to get in trouble. He's the young one. And so he's like, Amber, I'm leaving. You want to come? And she's like, no, I want to ride a little bit more. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going home. So he leaves and goes home, goes to grandparents' house.
And now a word from our sponsors.
I'm your puzzle pal, and I'm going to tell you about my latest obsession, Wongo puzzles. These things are the real deal, folks. They're high quality, handcrafted, and perfect for anyone who loves a good challenge, but doesn't want to dedicate their entire kitchen table to puzzles for a week. Trust me, I've been there. I might still be there. But I got one of these actually for Christmas. I loved it. I did it, and I was so proud of myself. And they have all these cool designs, and you need to go to wongopuzzles.com and use our discount, BHH. You get 10% off. And I really want to know if you'll order one of these puzzles, what you think about it, because it's so fun, and I need to order like 5.
Cure hydration. If you are obsessed with your hydration like I am, this may be something good for you. This is something that is so easy. Forget about the Gatorade. That just dehydrates you even more. And if you don't like the taste of coconut water, try Cure Hydration. You can go to my offer link. It is zen.ai/BHH20. This is vegan. It's no added sugars. It's just a little packet you could put in your water. Or if you're really smart during happy hour, you could put it into your Tito's. It is just as effective as an IV drip. And if you do not like the taste of water, it's not as boring as water, not as sugary as the sports drink. And if you're an athlete, it'll give you the best performance. Or if you just get brain fog or headaches because you do not stay hydrated.
Brain fog?
Brain fog.
I get
The
brain
solution is Cure Hydration. So go to that link, enter the code. You can go to my offer link. It is zen.ai/BHH20. Cure Hydration.
So Ricky gets home. It's just like 2 minutes from like where this parking lot
Winn-Dixie
to the
there.
grandparents' house. Literally 2 minutes.
Okay.
So gets home. First thing mom asks is, where's Amber? And he's like, oh, well, she wanted to ride a little bit longer. And we actually were in the Winn-Dixie parking lot right on the ramps. And she's like, go back and go get your sister. And then grandpa is
Tell
like,
me the ages again, 9 and 11?
no, Amber's 9. Ricky was 5.
Oh,
So he was
no.
younger. Poor little Ricky Poo. I cannot imagine letting a 5-year-old.
I would have been mad at Amber for letting your 5-year-old brother go back by himself.
Oh, well, maybe she's just real selfish. And she's like, I want to still ride and have fun.
Yeah.
And if you want to be a little baby, then go home.
Like me thinking back, I'd have been like, "What? You're the big sister. You don't leave your brother."
Oh, see,
But
I'm not
then
the
Mama
big.
sent.
That's
Then
true.
Mama sent 5-year-old back.
Tried to. Grandpa stopped it.
Oh, okay.
Grandpa was like, no. I'm getting in the truck and I'm going to get her from the parking lot.
Thanks, Grandpa.
Somebody has sense around here. So Grandpa hops in his truck, and he gets into the parking lot, and he does not see anything. And they're like, okay, he drove around a few times. Nothing. He was like, what do we do? What do we do? Maybe where is she? Maybe she'll come back. He drove around and he saw her pink bicycle. In the parking lot. Alone, but no Amber.
Okay.
So he then saw a police officer who was talking to this guy, and the guy lived in one of the houses that was like backed up to the Winn-Dixie parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, like Jimmy went over there and was like, hey, what's going on? And this witness guy said that he watched a guy snatch a girl off of her bike and drive away.
Oh. He was telling the police this? Or
he was telling the police this. So he's
okay.
neighbor. He's just in his yard. He's right next to this parking lot. And he saw a black truck pull up, grab the girl, pull her in the truck, and drive away. And he said it just happened so fast.
Yeah.
And then I'm assuming he called the police. And then by the time police got there, Grandpa shows up in the parking lot.
Mm.
And it was like, what's going on? I'm looking for my grandchild. That's her bike. What's happening? What's going on? Neighbors like, oh, this is what I saw, blah, blah, blah. I think it was like his backyard. It was like a chain link fence that separated it. So he could have just been sitting out there and saw it. So, and this isn't like a secluded area. I mean, it's like traffic, and there's like a laundromat near, and there's stuff all around.
Yeah.
So there's activity. So he says he watched in horror as the man grabbed Amber right off her bike, pulled her through the driver's side door. She kicked and screamed, tried to fight him off, but within seconds, the truck, the man, and Amber were gone.
Gosh.
So Jimmy goes back home. Grandpa goes back home, tells Donna, the first words out of his mouth is, somebody got Amber. And she couldn't believe it. She's shocked. She was like, this has to be a mistake.
No.
She was not alone for even 8 minutes.
Yeah.
This is how fast it happens.
This guy had to have been sitting back and watching.
So Donna goes to the parking lot. She's yelling for Amber. Realizes that she really is gone. And the witness then tells police it was a solid black truck, single cab. It was in good shape. Police sent out a bolo. Be on the lookout for anyone driving this black truck. And from that point, anytime a black truck moved, that was the person. Like they were on it. So the police were on it.
Good.
The community was on it. Like everybody was willing to help out. So they're searching for this. And yeah, the witness said that it happened so fast he wasn't able to get a really good look at the guy for description, but he did say that he thought he was either white or Hispanic, 20s or 30s. He was under 6 feet tall. I mean, I feel like it's a pretty good look.
Under 6 feet tall?
Under
He's probably
6 feet
Hispanic.
tall with a medium build and dark hair. So it's probably
Ariel Castro?
Could be Ariel Castro. So, yeah, like I said, there was a neighborhood nearby, laundromats, houses were all around. The laundromat typically was busy, but like by the time they were looking or they realized she was missing, everybody was out of the laundromat, so there was nobody there to talk to. So they're just kind of figuring out. The community comes out, they're searching the streets, the creeks, the bushes. They are they're searching throughout the night. The mom, I think she stays home, but I think she's staying home to if there's a phone call. Or if Amber shows up to the house.
Yeah.
But then they go on, mom and dad are divorced, but they are in this together.
Okay.
Which is good, obviously. And they go on the news, and they're pleading for just somebody to bring her back. At this point, the house is swarming with like journalists and cameras and all the things. And they're begging for their daughter's safe return. So I think they also had like a local dairy, and a radio station had offered $15,000 reward for information that would lead to her a kidnapper or safe return.
Yeah.
So they're putting out a reward. People are tying pink ribbons around trees and lampposts, and
this is this is all happening quick. I mean, like,
yes, this is
I guess
very
in
quick.
the best case, I
Well, 'cause you
expected the story to be like the police didn't do what they needed to do, and like the information didn't get out there, and that's why we had to have Amber Alert system.
Well, so
I expected opposite.
Yeah, it didn't get out far. It just got out to their local community.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like 2 days later, police end the ground search. They end the air search because they think that she may no longer be in Texas.
Oh, hell.
I know. So then law enforcement shifts their focus and they set up a tip line. They have about 50 law enforcement officers working on this case. There's FBI agents, FBI child abduction and serial killer unit. Every tip that comes in, they're investigating it. They're talking to psychics. They're talking to mediums, because back then that's the thing. And so they had tons and tons of leads, but none of them were leading them any closer to finding her. On day 4 of this investigation, a man is walking his dog about 4 miles away from where Amber was abducted, and he noticed something white in a creek behind an apartment building. And when he got a little closer, he realized it was the body of a young girl, beaten, bruised, bloody, with her throat slit, naked, except for a single sock on her right foot.
What?
And they identified the body as Amber Hagerman.
She was naked?
Yes, except for one sock on her foot. So maintenance workers at the apartment complex were like, well, we have been keeping an eye out, and this was not here a couple of days ago. So they either thought, because it had been raining a lot recently, they didn't know, because like water levels were a lot higher. They didn't know if it was like from a storm from the night before, that her body had washed from the spot it had originally been dumped. But they did think that the rain washed away any physical evidence.
Of course.
So now we have her. She's being sent off for autopsy, and it showed that she had been dead for 2 days. So he kept her for 2 days, and then he just kept her for 2 days and did. You can only imagine.
Yeah.
She had been captive for 2 days before she was killed, and that's when she was beaten and sexually assaulted repeatedly.
No.
I don't understand people. So now they're like, all right, who did this? We gotta find out who did this. FBI, they created a criminal profile for this man. They were looking for they were thinking he had maybe some connections to Arlington, that he probably lived there or worked there. Okay, that's where they are. They were thinking he was comfortable in the city, that I don't know how they come up with these things, but they said he most likely had a criminal record and or had previously committed crimes against children. They think that he lived alone in a secluded area where he could have taken her without, and like held her captive without being seen. And they said that they thought his attack may have been triggered by something that was going on in his life, whether he had like recently been divorced, been fired from a job, something like that.
Okay.
But they did say that they thought the attack was not well planned or methodically plotted, and they thought it was very opportunistic.
Wow.
So, yeah. I mean, so now we have this death. Everybody's like shaken. It's affected everybody in this community, right? So this lady named Diane Simone, Diane, we'll call her.
Diane.
She is a mom from Fort Worth, and she, like, everybody had been watching TV. This is what was on the news. They were searching for her. So this lady was watching this story unfold, and she just couldn't imagine that this girl was taken from a parking lot 3:00 in the afternoon in broad daylight where there's homes and there's businesses, and that no one saw anything except for the one witness. And so she felt like someone else had to see, like somebody else at some point had to see something or had to know something. And she called into this DFW Dallas-Fort Worth radio station to just, I guess they're like, oh, call in and whatever. So she's talking about how she's frustrated. So while she's on the show, she shares an idea, and she says if the media can issue weather alerts and TV and radio warnings for like dangerous weather conditions, why couldn't they do the same for a kidnapped or abducted child?
Look at you, Diane.
Diane. So she suggested something that would interrupt broadcast and get people's attention.
Look at her.
This bitch is DTF.
She is.
So as we know, the first 48 hours are the most important, but especially in these abduction or kidnapping cases, the first 3 hours are the most important, because they could easily just drive to Mexico. Like they could drive far. They could typically kill them within that amount of time. And so with this idea, law enforcement could like tap the public broadcast system within hours or minutes, and it can spread however far, like further than just your immediate small community. So her idea, it takes off, and everybody loves it. They're like, that's a great idea. The police think it's a great idea. The community, everybody thinks it's a great idea.
And now a word from our sponsors.
All right, if you love smoothies or if you love your protein in the morning, you need to get you a Blend Jet. You can do that if you go into blendjet.com. If you enter the code BHH12, you get a discount. And let me tell you, these things are portable. They are easy to use. They can fit in your cup holder. You can have it at home or you can have it in your office like I do. Right this morning, I had my blueberry banana one
how was
with
it?
some chia seed.
Wasn't chunky or anything?
It was very smooth. When I have it in my shaker, it is a little chunky. So this is a great alternative.
I love it.
It is battery powered, so all you have to do is plug it in every 2 weeks, and the battery never runs down.
Oh my gosh, I love battery powered things.
Go to BlendJet and order you a BlendJet and get a discount.
Thanks, April, for sharing.
Did you know you could be putting oil and chemicals in your coffee? I love coffee creamer, but I don't think I've ever turned the bottle around to actually see what's inside. When I did, I found out many of my favorite creamers contain ingredients I would never intentionally add to my coffee cup, like canola oil, dipotassium phosphate, and artificial flavors. Laird Superfood all started when big wave surfer Laird Hamilton needed morning fuel that could allow him to spend the entire day chasing the ultimate wave. He couldn't find anything in the market that met his ingredient standards, so made himself the ultimate plant-based creamer. Laird Superfood started and launched its first product, Original Superfood Creamer, in 2015. Laird Superfoods contain no artificial flavors, colors, or additives, and no sugars from highly refined corn syrup. All Laird products are sustainably sourced and thoroughly tested to ensure that you're incorporating the cleanest, finest fuel into your routine. All Laird products are also made of all-natural whole food ingredients, and they are crafted from the highest quality all-natural real food ingredients. Are you ready to feel more energized, focused, and supported? Go to lairdsuperfood.com and add nourishing plant-based foods to fuel you from sunrise to sunset. Use our promo code BOO at checkout to save 15% off your purchase today.
So then this is when that area, DFW, starts working with law enforcement, and they're trying to figure out how to make this plan happen. So within 9 months, in October 1996, the Amber Plan is unveiled in the U.S., and the Amber Alert was born. Now, Amber Alert has two meanings. First, it's a tribute to Amber. Second, it's an acronym that stands for America's Missing Broadcast Emergency Response.
Oh,
AMBER.
How did that happen?
Amber Alert system. So the plan directed police to notify broadcasters back in the day via fax, because it's like 30 years ago, because we're old as fuck. And as soon as an abduction was confirmed, radio stations would break into their scheduled programming, and they would immediately share the information, and then the information that was in the community, and it became part of the search team, and you had everybody on the ground and doing all these searches. So it's evolved over time, and now it's being shared over radio. I guess people still listen to radio, TV, internet, service providers, certain like your
Cell
phones, your watches. It goes directly to your wireless device. As you know, I know you can have a setting to turn it off on your phone, or you can turn it on your phone.
I didn't even know you could turn it off.
Yeah, you can turn it off. Because actually, it's helped me before, because I didn't set my alarm when I was at a work thing, and I typically wake up, so I don't ever set an alarm. But I'm sure glad that Amber Alert went off at 6 o'clock, because I would have been late. So 2019, this is what's interesting. There were 145 Amber Alerts were issued in the United States. But that doesn't sound like a lot for a whole year. In 2019, 145. And the reason that it was such a low number is because a lot of states had yet to adopt it. Because it's based on, like, there were 420,000 missing children reports in that year.
Damn.
But only 145 Amber Alerts.
420,000?
420,000 missing child reports, 145 Amber Alerts. But there's also criteria for these Amber Alerts. Number 1, law enforcement must confirm that an abduction has taken place. Number 2, the child must be at risk of serious injury or death. Number 3, there must be sufficient description or descriptive information of the child, of the captor, or the captor's vehicle to issue an alert.
Okay.
And then the child must be under 17 years old.
Okay.
So,
I
Amber,
guess there's not a time frame of when they remember.
like they have to wait. Well, because back in the day, you couldn't, like, you would say, "Oh, I give them a kid," and they're like, "Oh, you can't report it for 48 hours. Bye."
Yeah, and that was the most crucial 48 hours.
Yeah.
But remember,
Oh, it's just a runaway.
the Carolyn Cummings episode, I think, when we had
Never heard of her.
when we had the lady that I used to work with come on, and she was telling us about her sister.
Oh, the
And
silver
the
alert.
silver alert,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
wouldn't let her do a silver alert because it was like
Didn't meet criteria.
days, like the
Not
time
enough.
frame.
Right.
So by the time they knew or thought
Yeah.
she was missing, it was over like maybe like the 48 hours or something. So they never really got to do
Yeah.
the silver
So I
alert.
think
So I wonder if there's something like that.
Well,
for the,
it appears that they've taken a time constraint away.
good.
Because I think there's like, as long as you have enough information leading us to believe that this child didn't just run away and that they were taken, like if you're divorced and the ex is like violent and you see him take your child and you're like, they'll
Yeah.
send out an Amber Alert.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, well, not a lot, I don't know.
It is
we'll
family
get 'em a lot.
members.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
like, oh,
It's their mama. They're with
yeah,
their mama.
and then the Amber Alert they'll describe. They'll say this age of this kid is wearing this and is in this car, and they'll give the description of the
Yeah.
car. So they have to have all that information, and they put it in the alert. So then you're looking. So, January 2021 was the 25th anniversary of her death, and the police in Arlington said they made a renewed plea for information, and for the first time they shared that they had DNA evidence.
Ooh.
And obviously DNA has come a long way from back then, and they're hoping that this will get them closer and closer to finding who Amber's killer was, because as of now, 2023, it's been 27 years since this abduction. And although it did inspire the creation of this life-saving emergency system, it has brought more than 1,000 children home safely. However, Amber's case still remains unsolved.
Oh, no. I couldn't remember if it was solved. I remember watching the Lifetime movie, I think, about this. Oh, man.
Yeah.
So luckily So did they just keep DNA? Did they exhume her body?
I don't know. I tried to look in more on that, and I didn't find any information. So I figured, I don't know if
just still had. They had to have like take some swabs or something, and they.
And
still
it's
have
like
it
you
stored.
can't. You have to figure out when you want to run it, because then you lose it.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they don't have much, but I don't know what. I don't even know how. I don't know how you even go about figuring out who could have. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, surely somebody will come
Forward.
Somebody would know. Somebody has to know. Do you think if you're an abductor or a murderer or something, you don't tell anybody? You have to tell somebody.
Maybe if they get drunk and tell somebody. I
mean,
know.
because I would think you would want to kind of brag about it.
Sometimes.
Like, ooh, I got away with this, and I got this big, and now it's Amber. I don't know.
Yeah. There was one story. It just came out a week or two ago that a guy who murdered somebody 10 years ago, he just confessed. And he just was like, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I did it. Please arrest me. And he just like basically walked into the police department. So I
saw this one, I don't know, it was something on wherever, internet. A guy, they do the whole trafficking thing. Like, what's the guy that you met who he is the
Scaramucci?
Yeah. So they intercepted this guy that the undercover officers were pretending to be like this 10-year-old girl or whatever, and met with this guy who had already been in prison for 25 years for raping a 4-year-old. And he's over here trying to meet with this 10-year-old boy or girl or whatever and he was like, the undercover guy is like, well, what did you come here for? Oh, I just wanted to come and talk. And he was like, well, were you planning on having sex with this kid? And he was like, well, only if they wanted to.
Only if they gave me consent.
And the undercover was like, no, this is illegal. You need to be in jail. And he was like, you need to call the police right now and turn yourself in. And the guy was like, okay, I don't need to be out. I do need to be in jail. And so he called the police and he got taken to jail.
Oh, shit.
And this guy was just like a normal looking old, he was probably in his 50s, but you wouldn't, there's
a compulsion.
So many people out there that do this and it's awful. I mean, there's so many pedophiles.
Oh, yes.
You would be shocked. I'm shocked, but I'm not shocked anymore. And a lot of people, if I post stuff about child this or child that, a lot of people don't want to read about or hear about or listen to anything that happens to a child, but it is so, it happens, it's so out there so much. It's hard to avoid.
It's sad, yeah.
And it is awful and sad, but it's like, that's the reality.
And and I don't know. I feel like people need to know, and really kids need to know. Like, some parents do want to shield their kids from things like that, but I always wanted my kid to be informed.
Yeah, well, even my friends, who I watch their kids and stuff a lot, and they told their kids, they're like, no grown-up should ever see you naked.
Yeah.
Except for mommy and daddy that could be bad too. But they're like, no grown-up should see you naked. And so they came and they'll spend the night at my house and take baths. And they're like, well, can Yaya see me naked? And I'm like, well, that's she's kind of family. But it's at least they asked.
Yeah.
And they're being talked to about it. And you may not want to talk, but and these kids are like 3 and 4.
Yep.
So you got to just tell them.
Tell
Talk to him.
Tell them.
Talk to him about a penis. Talk to him about vagina.
The real words.
The real words. That's what at Camp Careful, that's what they tell you to do.
Is it called Camp Careful?
I think it's called Camp Careful.
So
I'm preaching. I don't have no children.
preaching. Yes, kids need to know.
But they need to know.
Yeah. Still, till this day.
Nobody needs to. It's not your pee-pee. It's your penis, and it's your vagina.
Yeah.
That's what they say at Camp Careful. You need to go by the anatomy
I need
terms.
to go see where Camp Careful is.
Maybe
I've never.
I
heard
need
of
to.
Camp
I
Careful.
need to be as far away from Camp Careful as possible. But I feel like I'm in Camp Careful.
When Scaramucci came to my book club or whatever, he had these 2 phones. I don't remember if I told you this.
Oh yeah.
And one of them, like, they kept going off. And these were like his undercover phones. So one of them was men who were trying to meet up and have sex with him, which he was posing as an undercover, like an underage girl,
13-year-old girl.
The other one is men around here, Central Texas, that were trying to purchase child porn or distribute, either purchase, distribute, or so it's. By the time he left, both of the phones had 150 plus messages. People around here, like
it's
so
everywhere.
It is
everywhere. Whether I don't understand.
This is in a 2-hour window.
What is it about? I don't get it. I don't think anybody almost does. You know, because I'm always interested in, like, I want to know why or how, or like I look into this and I'm like, what is it about a little child? It's hard to say because you don't want to go there, but it's like I don't understand.
Do you think people take this Amber Alert system seriously now? Like, how seriously do you take it when it goes off this?
When it goes off, if it said Waco, like it happened in where I live, I would be like, ooh, if I see the car.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go hunt for the car.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think I don't know. I mean, I think it's a lot. I do know a lot of people are like, ugh, Amber Alert. Amber Alert's going off again. But I think that's why it doesn't go off that often, like too often.
No. I just remember at first, and maybe when my kid was littler, so I took it more seriously, but it would go off. And so literally it would be like I don't know, whatever type of car. I would Google the image, and me and Trenton would look at it. Trenton, this is the type of car we're looking for. This is the color. Here's
you would tape it on your...
No. Like, we would just have a visual of it. Like, I'd show him the type of car. So if we were just driving around, this is the type of car that we would be looking for.
Oh, see,
so
that's
it would
what
be
we
like
need to
a
do.
game.
That's
it would
what we
be
need
like
to
a
do.
game.
That's what we should do. Tell everybody to do that. Listen. But what would you put on your
now
steering
I don't
wheel?
do is steering wheel. That's if people were escaped prison. So like when the Texas 7 escaped, I cut out the pictures in the paper and I like glued it or taped it to my steering wheel so I knew what they looked like.
Vicky
and
Casey White or whatever their name is, they escaped and they just like had a bunch of sex and got porn and like then she killed herself and then he is like so gross and like he's like 8 feet tall.
She saw that big old schlong.
She's like, get that BD.
Okay.
There you go.
That was good. History of the Amber Alert system. Guys, send this episode to whoever and 14 of your friends.
Yeah, and thanks for coming to the live show.
It was so much fun.
I think it was amazing.
Yeah.
Let's do it again tomorrow. Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah. Live show is tomorrow. We are excited to see. Oh, we had a blast at the live show. Sorry. Okay. Rate us, review us, and subscribe to us. And go to Patreon because the newest episode is coming out, or the first episode is coming out this week. George Stinney Jr. it's a case. It's a case where you're going to need your tissue or a drink, and you're going to get pissed unless you're a robot.
So basically, I'm just a robot. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. Okay. Don't forget to
Stay aware.
stay alive.
And always be DTF.
Bye, y'all.
Goodbye.
Everybody has a story worth telling. I'm Corey Duncan. On Best Story Ever, I take guests that you know through their most unique and captivating stories. The best part? I hear the story for the first time when you do. Everyone has a story. What's yours? Find Best Story Ever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Hola, yo soy Jackie.
Y yo soy Jessica.
Y esto es Zona del Crimen. Un podcast donde hablaremos sobre casos de crímenes reales
Y eventos impactantes que han quedado marcados a través del tiempo. Recuerden que nos pueden seguir en Facebook, Instagram
o donde escuches tus podcasts favoritos.
Hey, I'm Blair. And I'm Brittany. And we're the host of By the Cover Podcast. We cover everything from mysteries, thrillers, romance, chick lit, and even some smut.
Don't forget the smut.
Yeah.
We're so excited to get this thing going and share this with you guys. We've been talking about this for months, and it's finally happening.
Yes.
Special shout out to Rogue Media for helping us with this.
For sure. For sure. You can find us on Instagram at bythecover_podcast.
You can also find us on Facebook and TikTok, so don't forget to give us a follow on those too also.
And we are so excited to dive into some of our favorite books and share those with you.
We can't wait. Hope you love it.
Hi, and welcome to Bustles and Bangers with your hostess, Rachel and Christopher.
I love it when you say my name.
And you didn't say hi.
I didn't. You just kept going. I'm going to introduce the book. I'm not reading it. It's because I don't like reading.
Girls like cowboy butts, and those jeans don't hide anything.
Find us on Instagram at Bustles and Bangers or on RogueMediaNetwork.com.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.